Good morning. Just getting a few things set up. So it is Monday, June 13th, 2022. And I decided to go live this morning because I haven't been live in a while making jewelry. I've been doing it on OBS, recording it, and then putting it up on my site, but I haven't been doing anything live lately. So kind of wanted to get with you guys and let you know, hey, I'm still here. So what I'm going to be doing first this morning is actually wrapping raw copper wire onto a healing gold stone, which is this one here. And then I'm going to be wrapping 3 other stones, which we have Charoite here. We have Merlinoite, which is one of my favorite stones. They're absolutely beautiful. And this last one here is, I believe it's Apophyllite. I don't know. It reminds me of the apostles in the Bible. But anyway, I'm just getting some wire ready. As you can see, got 18 gauge wire. This is actually purchased from Home Depot. Believe it or not, they have raw copper wire available, but only in 18 gauge. So that's what I'm currently working with as we speak, just cutting it down. And I'm using 3 strands of that 18 gauge wire. In addition, I'm going to be using some craft wire as well. And the craft wire, I have 4 different gauges in 16, 28, 30, and 24 gauge. Then I also have this little one of 22. And these wires will be the ones that we'll be wrapping our main wires, which are 18 gauge. The 18 gauge is going to be very sturdy as far as keeping everything intact. I need some coffee. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to pick the gauge of wire I'm going to be using. And speaking of wire, I just ordered more from Parawire, which is my favorite place to order from online, parawire.com. And if you order any type of silver-plated copper wire, which is Anti-tarnish and very, very reputable company, you get 10% off right now with promo code SUN22 at checkout. So if you want to check them out, they're a really good company. They make very, very, very well-made products. And I think I'm going to be using the 24. So I'm going to start off with. I'm going to pull off 2 arm lengths of this 24 gauge, which is, it's not very, very thin, but it's thin enough. Let's get this out of here. Move those stones around a little bit. Move these over so you guys get the full clear picture of what I'm doing. So I'm starting off just like I normally do with any other wrap. And this wrap is going to be a little bit on the intricate side because this is a gold stone, which is a healing stone. And it's very pretty. It reminds me a lot of citrine, but it's not quite as golden as citrine or dark yellow as citrine. So I just wanted to get a little bit more tone from the solid copper wire with the stone itself. So I'm going to start with 1 piece of 18 gauge. I'm going to wrap this 3 times. And this is how I always begin any type of wire wrap, is you start off with 1, then you add on as you go. Then we're going to take the tail and just wrap that around and push that together. I'm going to take our bent nose pliers And I'm just going to tighten this up and kink it so it doesn't slip. There we go. So that's really on there and in good standing. So we're going to take wire number 2, pair that up together. These wires aren't parallel, as you can see, so I'm going to fix that as soon as I start this wrap. So I'm just going to wrap this around 2 times. I'm going to wrap it around 3. I love the number 3 when it comes to making wraps. They seem to hold a lot better when you do a third instead of just doing 2. And I did an overlap there, which I didn't want to do. Go. And it's still overlapping. And I have a little kitty playing with my wire at my feet. His name is Bond. He's always with me when I'm creating or editing videos or doing new videos or doing tarot readings or what have you. My little buddy, little baby boy. And take this third one. I'm going to wrap this one in 2. I think I'm just going to do a kind of a pyramid weave on these. So I wrap that around 3 times over all 3. Go and pull that tight as I can. Okay, now flatten that out to make sure that it stays. And we will continue downward. So I don't know how long I'm going to be wrapping for today, but if you can't stay the entire time, that's okay. This will be automatically uploaded to YouTube, and you can watch it later. All the comments and everything will be available later as well. So I've got that around 2. I'm going to go around 1, which is the first wire we started off with. Now, a lot of people straighten their wires out before they start, and I technically should have done that, but I didn't. So I'm kind of playing it off a little bit by ear. I'll push that in place like so. And now since I have a full wrap going, I'm going to go ahead and straighten these out. There we go. And sometimes these try to sneak out of the setting, which is the reason why many people do this before they start. Again, I'm not being so bright today, unfortunately, so I decided just to get the ball rolling. Okay, so let's continue. I'm going to go around 2 again. And this does get a lot easier once your wire becomes shorter. As of right now, it's a little pain in the butt, as you can see. Because it's starting to kink up on me. Go. And this stone does remind me a lot of the sun, which the sun has quite a bit of healing properties in itself, which is kind of the reason why I'm going with the pyramid design. And it kind of reminds me of Egypt in a way. So the sun god Ra in Egypt. Very nice to think about when you're doing your wrap based on your intentions. And we're just wrapping and wrapping and wrapping and wrapping. Oh, there's 2. Go around 1 again. Believe it or not, my hand is starting to cramp up already. It's kind of odd. But hey, it is what it is. When you make jewelry for as long as I have, unfortunately, it can take its toll. There we go. Okay. Let's bring this down one more time. And I'm going to finalize this in just a second. Okay. Beautiful. Wraps it in place. We'll push them together a little more. There we go. So let me bring the camera down a bit so you can see what this looks like. You can clearly see the wrap there. There we go. So that's what it's starting to look like from what I'm doing. Again, I want to go in here and kind of adjust these a little bit, bring them closer together, make sure they're all lined up and pretty. Okay, so I have three sets. Three sets of building the wrap so far. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the opposite wrap. So I'm going to start with three and end with one at the top just to reverse it and make it a little bit more interesting. Because this is really a very, very basic type of weave that you can do. Let's start with two, then we're going to skip the bottom one. Like so. And then we're going to take the top one all by itself. You never know how hard it is to wrap jewelry on camera until you've actually done it. And I used to use my phone for doing this. This is not. I want to gotta push that together. There we go. Okay, so now we have the bottom one done. We're gonna go back and do the two and then three again, just like we did before. I'm just going in reverse order as I mentioned earlier. Two and three. One thing I haven't done for you guys yet is make any rings, and I should, because I have a couple rings that I made, and actually I set them out to people so they can actually try them. And I wasn't going to sell them until people gave me the okay to do so. Kind of like a test project, if you would. And I should start doing that on my channel because they turned out really pretty. go. That would be 2, so let's go with number 3. Actually, technically it's only 2.5, but hey, what the heck. Okay. 2, 3. You see the wire is getting wild on me. Woohoo! And that was fun. What happened to my battery? Huh. Alright, let me adjust this again. Hold on just a moment. Sorry about that. That happens once in a while with this ring light. I'm not sure why, but it likes to turn itself off. And I use a power supply battery while I'm using it, and I thought the battery went dead, and I remembered, you know what, this was 75% full. What the heck is going on? Maybe we have spirits in the house. Who knows? And that's fine. I like them. As long as they don't give me any trouble, I don't mind having them. 2 and 3. Okay. There we go. You see that? Okay. So since I only have a half one done here, let me do a third. This will be kind of the midpoint right here, which is that half. So let's just do one more. 1, 2, 3. Two, 3. Go. Swim forward. 1, 2, 3. And last one. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Go. And then on to the back. There we go. So this may look a little odd, but it's actually a very nice wrap. And I'm going to go ahead and tighten these up a bit by pushing them in place. And actually, they look pretty good. So I think I'm okay. So we've ended on the top here. And this is going to become our bail. My cat is jumping at the wires again on the side of the desk. Isn't that lovely? Excuse me. So since this was our midpoint here, I'm going to take a pen and use this to make my bail. Just like so. There we go. That's my bail. And some people have specific ways they do this sort of thing, but a bail is a bail is a bail, as far as I'm concerned. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to anchor the back to the front. I'm going to wrap that around 3 times. So they're tight. And I'm going to wrap it around 1, 3 times, like so. And then I'm going to wrap it all the way around the front and the back pieces. Like that there. Okay, now that overlapped a bit, so let me fix that. That does happen, so you have to watch sometimes. Otherwise, you're going to end up with something very uneven. Okay. Now these little pieces here, since they're going to be, this one's going to be sticking out, I need to curl that up. So, whoops. whoever purchases this piece or whoever wears this piece does not get stuck by the wire. So I'm just going to bend that upward. That's good. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's go back to the front. Like this. And you're covering that piece as I'm wrapping. And my cat is clawing the shit out of me. Stop it. Sorry about that. I do love him, but he's a menace sometimes. Okay, so let's go around to this wire here. We're going to wrap this 3 times just to anchor everything into place. Now it's time to have fun. So we need to decide which part of this stone is going to be the front. Now this is technically a really, really, really round stone with kind of a flat face right here and one back here. So being that I don't have really a square or angular type of appeal to the stone, I'm just going to go with that flat face, which is this here. It's kind of concave inward a little bit, but I think that would look best. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to make a little loop here. I'm sure you've seen me do this before. Okay, and I'm going to make a loop over here. And this one is going to reside a little bit higher than the first one. Okay, so what I'm going to do, interesting also, is I'm going to overlap that last strand over top. Then I'm going to take my wire and I'm going to wrap it around the overlap strand. And this will kind of hold it in place for me. Got that wrapped 3 times. Okay. Then I'm going to take the next wire, which was from the other loop, and I'm going to wrap that around this way. 2, 3. And you can open these up like I'm doing if you want to, or you can push them all together to make it closed. So now the third wire, I'm going to wrap it 3 times. So, and I'm going to need to tighten that because that's a little loose. Yeah, and then I'm going to go back over to the middle. And wrap this loosely around the middle and the outer third wire. There we go. Okay. So I'm starting to come up with a little pattern, as you can see. Trying to get this focused. There we go. A little bit of a pattern, but it's not perfected, as I like to call it. So what I'm going to do next is just take my protective nylon pliers and I'm going to push this into place, flatten that out a bit. Okay. And this down, I just want to do the measurement really quick. Okay, this down is actually not that big at all. So let's go ahead and start planning our wrap around the backside. And the reason why I made these 2 loops also is so I can create a brace around the top of the stone here. So I can bend these, which helps secure our stone into place as well. So what I'm going to do is, actually, you know what? Let me undo this wrap here. I'm going to go back over to this side. And that came from on top, so I need to wrap here really quick, just one time around, and then back over to this side. Now, as you can see, I got a little kink. So what I can do is just flatten that out a bit. And straighten it. There we go. Your presentation is everything when it comes to wrapping wire or wire wrapping work. So you have to keep that in mind. Straight wire, they're happy wires make beautiful things. 2, 3. I'll come back over to this one here. Pull that out a little bit. 1, 2, 3. And that needs to be tightened. That needs to be tightened. One of the things about wrapping bare or raw wire is sometimes it's a little difficult to maneuver them around, so you have to be careful. That's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. But once you get the hang of it, you'll really get into a rhythm of doing things. I'm just going a lot slower. So if anybody is watching or if they're replaying the video, they'll be able to keep up with me. Okay, I'm going to straighten these out. So I got a little bent during the process, especially this one. That may have been wire number 1. There we go. Okay. So now my wires are spread out a bit. So, excuse me. Do next is that's almost to the bottom. So I'm going to take these two and I'm going to bend them just ever so slightly to the back of the pendant. Like so. So that way it kind of hugs the top of the stone. I'm going to place this on top of the stone now. Just so I can push it into place. Let me make sure I'm getting coating on that. This one is not working out so well, so let me just bend that. Some tools. There we go. Okay. So now we know that this is the bottom, and I'm going to just wrap these really quick on the middle till I've wrapped it enough that I can take that wire underneath the stone. And this is usually a wrap that people use when they're wrapping kind of like clear quartz crystals or any type of small, straight, square stones, especially since I'm using a full round wire and not a half round and not a square wire. Square wires tend to be better for rounded stones, but that's not always true all the time either. Okay, so this might be the point where I want it. And it is. Okay, good. So I'm going to take these. I'm just going to bend them around the stone like so. Again, you don't want to cover the entire stone. You want some of the stone to be shown, but you also want to make sure that your work is being shown as well. So now that I have that bent to the shape of the stone, I'm just going to move this piece around. And whoops, move these around as well so they meet again behind the stone. Like so. Okay, so this is probably going to be a little off as far as the wrap is concerned right now because the stone's not in there, so I can't form the wires to fit the stone. And by the way, since this is a round stone, one that has been already tumbled, they're harder to wrap. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like from the front. So what I need to do is pull these wires in the back around the bottom. Okay, then I can remove our stone. Okay, and the reason why I wrap this all the way down around to the back side is so when I get to this point, I can separate my wires again because I know they're going to be meeting in the middle. And just go ahead and keep on wrapping, oops, around the middle wire. Like so. Now you can also just go ahead and wrap if you want to in advance, but you may overwrap, and that's okay. You can always undo it, but then you have to straighten out your wire again. Okay, let's make sure that is pretty tightly. Okay, so now we're at the point where the wires are being met back in the back side of the pendant. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap all 3 wires together. Like this. So now I know, you want to pull that tight. Now I know all these wires are going to hold together. And I'm going to clamp these really fast just to make sure that they stay parallel with one another while I finish up the back part of this pendant. Okay, so now we have pretty much our setting for the stone, as you can see. So I'm going to take this stone, I'm going to pop it in. Like that. And as you can see, it doesn't wiggle, so that's a good sign. Okay, now, the top portion of the bale, what you're going to do at this point is you're going to bend it back over the stone a little bit, and then you're going to pull it up forward so it's centered on the stone. And the reason why we're doing that is because in case of somebody who wants to wear this on the opposite side, they can. That's why I'm making this a little bit more intricate on the back than what I normally do. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to make another loop on this side. Move that out of the way. Like this. And do the same over here. Like so. Okay. So now we have the loop there again. And this I have is still behind. So I'm going to go underneath the one loop and marry these 3 wires again on top of my 2 loops that I created. 3 times just like I did before. So now what I want to do, make sure these are pushed together nicely, like so. And see how this did not bend all the way from the front? That's okay, because we're going to go ahead and bend them all the way around. Or not all the way around, but bend them so that they'll hug the stone at the top so it doesn't come out. And that's the reason why these are here too. I'm going to push those along the side to help everything stay the way it's supposed to. Let me try to flatten this out really quick. There we go. Okay. So now we have our 3 wires again. Okay. And we're approaching the top of the pendant. So what I'm going to do is do another little intricate wrap just to give us some detail. Just give it another open weave. But this one's going to be a little different. This one's going to have all top-sided wires instead of a weave that goes back and forth like a zigzag. That would be number 3 on top of other one. So we're going to go over this way. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now I'm going to do the opposite. Wow, that was interesting. There goes my microphone. It just broke. How about that? Okay, that's interesting. So I'm going to lay this down here and maybe order another one. That was really weird how that just broke. It actually just physically broke. Okay, so let's see. How can I do this? Oh, all right. We'll just leave the microphone down there. Hopefully you can still hear me okay, but ay. Okay, so we're gonna come back up here. We're just gonna wrap this again. Two, 3. And we're gonna go down underneath with the other side. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Wow, that's an additional expense I wasn't expecting. Okay, 1, 2, 3. We're gonna push this in place. So if you guys want to buy some jewelry at SparrowToTwilight.com, please feel free, because my camera just my microphone just broke. Yay! Oh, what a day. Okay. So now this is finished here. And take this and push it into the middle of our design and our bail. And I'm going to cut this off, but I'm going to make a swirl out of it really quick. Just to make sure that nobody gets scratched by this. I'm going to cut that off right there. And tuck that in. I'm going to push that down inward. Okay, so I'm going to take these additional pieces, and I am going, so it should be on this side. I'm going to wrap them inside the bale and around our little piece that we made. Let's just wrap this around. Put that down into place. And twist that all the way around. We're going to take our bent nose pliers again, and we're going to kink this in. Just stays flat. Wonder how many people's microphone have actually broken on camera before here on YouTube. That's kind of funny. Okay, so this is the more intricate piece. I'm just going to take this and put it through the bale. Like this. Move everything out of the way so my camera focuses on the piece of jewelry. Go. And bring that down. And then I'm going to take the other one and go behind it. Pull that one through. Okay, now I'm going to make what's called a rosette. So this one needs to come up top here. This one goes in the bottom. Like that. And the rosette is basically taking your wires and just twisting them around each other while maintaining them to be flat. Some people call this a swirl. It could be a swirl if you want to call it a swirl. But the idea is to keep the wires flat while you're doing this, so they actually don't bend over each other. So now that I have this part here ending at the top, I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. Like so. And I'm going to tuck that wire into the bale and lay it flat against the bale. There we go. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to move this upward, like so. Cut it off where it's appropriate, just so I have enough room and enough length to tuck that into the bale. And again, lay it flat so nobody gets nicked by those. So this is our back side. So if somebody wanted to wear it on this side, they could, or they could wear it on the front side, whichever they choose. Okay, so now what we need to do is bend these little pieces of copper wire to hug our stone. And they're probably not going to be matching perfectly, and that's okay, because of the nature and the natural appearance of the stone and shape of the stone. Actually, I like the back side better than I do the front side. There we go. So this is technically the back side, which, all in all, I think I may display this as the front side. I like it. It's very pretty. And then here is the front side, which is probably going to become the back side, but it's a reversible pendant, so you can wear it either way. So down here, these pieces are holding the stone in place like a cradle. And the more you allow your wire to set, the stronger it becomes. That's just my experience. That may not be true for everyone, but that's just my experience. So this is the first wrap I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and restart the live session in just a moment so we can continue with the other three. And I think I'll do that with each one of the stones. All right, so thank you so much for joining me. hopefully I can get uh, a new microphone sometime soon. But thank you so much for joining me. It was a pleasure having you here today. Go ahead and click on the like. Go ahead and subscribe so you can get notifications on when I go live again. And I hope you have a great day. Take care now. Bye.